Well, that has been an entire year now. It is now 2022, most likely, when you're viewing this. So, what I'm going to do today, instead of a normal video, we will have one up in the next month, hopefully, as long as the cold doesn't come back. But basically, what I'm going to be doing today is highlighting my best catches, giving a little bit of information on how I caught them, where I caught them, that sort of thing. A little bit of information for the next year, a little bit of unseen footage. Honestly, I feel like this video will be one of the best that I've put together because it's, well, an entire recap of the year. So, first of all, before we get started, I'm going to feature Bennett. He has actually started his own channel now. He already has one video up, most likely. This is recorded before the end of the year, actually, and we will be going on the ice fishing trip on Thursday of this week. Stay featured on that. You'll be able to find him on Mainstream Angling, right up in the corner somewhere up here. I'll leave a little link to his channel in the description as well, just to get him out there. Honestly, I really feel like he'll have some good stuff. He has a nice Hero 8, so definitely go check him out. Really, really nice video, most likely. I'll be able to help him out, and he'll be able to keep on going and hopefully be able to become another successful channel. So, what happened this year? Let's start off with our top 5 best catches of 2021. Our 5th, we're going to be going from 5th to 1st, just for information. So, our 5th, we begin at Christina Lake, a warm lake out in BC. I normally catch smallmouth bass and sunfish and possibly pikemen out there the majority of the time. Occasionally largemouth as well, just as information. But this was a very unique catch because over my entire life, because I've been going there for a long time, since that's a very special place to our family, since we have relatives there, and it's really just a great place to be. So, this catch really caught me off guard when I caught it. So, of all the fish species to catch, we caught a sculpin. I'm going to put the name of the type of sculpin here on the video. And yeah, this is a tiny little sculpin. Got it just sitting directly on the bottom. Never caught a sculpin out of here before. But I guess this one thought that my worm was yummy, so there it goes. So, it is what I'm pretty sure, a spiny sculpin or slimy sculpin, one or the other, that I caught off the dock that we normally go to there. It's amazing fishing. Now, let's just show you the video. Wow, I'm still reveling over that catch to this day, honestly. I have never, over I think 10 years, ever, not 10, over 7 years maybe, have never caught a sculpin out of there. Out of the entire lake, not even just talking about that one spot, the lake at the dock, the lake at the creek, a little bit of the area around the lily pads, never before caught a sculpin. So that was a very special, different catch for me. So, let's move on to our next one. It was, yes. Oh, it was the long-nosed sucker. It was a long-nosed sucker that I caught out at Kootenai Lake by Nelson on the public dock there. That day was not the best for fishing, so I was just resorting to what the last strategy I had was. So let's go see what I did and the very special fish that I caught there. There we go, that's one. Woo! No, oh, that's a sucker. Long-nosed sucker. Take a photo of this one. How did a long-nosed sucker bite this? Why would a long-nosed sucker bite a minnow imitation? Yeah, it's a long-nosed sucker. There we go. Little long-nosed sucker on a minnow imitation of all things. That was a very interesting species. Well, and fish in general. I did not think that suckers were that aggressive generally, honestly, because I've never caught one on anything more than a worm or corn, honestly. So I guess they do like some plastics. That spot's very, very nice. This year was a little bit underwhelming, but I think I have it figured out now. So next, let's move on to a very recent catch. It was a completely new species to me. Out at Sylvan Lake, opening day. If you've been close to this channel recently, you have most likely seen what this is. But for the people that haven't been close to this channel recently, firstly, you should check out my other videos. But secondly, why I hold up 3. Secondly, let's just see what I caught that day. That was a very interesting species to me because I've always wanted to catch one, honestly, ever since I started fishing, really. I've always been very interested in that species, but have never had first-hand experience with them. So for me to be able to see it come up and eat the minnow before I caught it is a very, very interesting experience to me. They are a very unique species in the area, so might as well give it a little bit of a spotlight there. So we have gotten so far. We are now in our top 2 species. Let's go on our second right now. It was my largest northern pike that I have caught before. Out at Traverse, amazing day. Let's go see what I caught. This is a big fish. Dad, sideways. This is a fish. Oh, I've never had a fish. Oh my God, Dad, grab the net. Go grab the net. That's a big fish. This is almost as good as one of the carp fights. I'm not even sure if this fish will fit in that net. This is a big... What the hell? This thing cannot come off. It's not allowed. And finally, my number 1 species, well, number 1 fish actually, of the entire year. Only one of the species I've ever caught. Caught this summer. If you've been around for a while, you know what it is. It's also my largest freshwater fish that I've ever caught. Go see it. Oh my God, this thing's huge. Okay. This cannot do that. Can't go in there. Oh my God. Okay. It's a carp. It's not easy. Oh, wow.
Can you?
Oh my God.
I'm following you.
God. Benny, come here. Oh.
I'm following you. Yep.
Oh my God. I can work it up here. Oh, wow. You're not getting away. Oh, wow. Oh my God.
I've got you here.
Oh. Look at this thing. Oh.
Okay.
That's huge.
Put him down, and then I want a picture. Okay?
Okay, so yeah, this is a grass carp. I was going for big trout in here, but I guess this guy wanted a piece of my bait. Oh. No. This thing. Mom, can you go grab my weigh scale?
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Okay, you got him?
Yeah.
I'll go get him.
At 9 pounds
and 12 ounces, 13 ounces.
There you go.
9.5 to 10 is what I said, right?
Well done. There you go.
Yeah, make sure you pass some water around its gills.
Yeah. I think he's gone.
Woo! That is a new species for me. I have never caught a grass carp before. Let's go! Woo! Okay, at 9 pounds, 13 ounces. That is the biggest freshwater fish I have ever caught.
Cool.
That's insane.
Just to lighten up the mood, let's take a look at some falls, slips, and trips that we've had this year.
Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Why? It just never falls. No time ever falls.
No!
Allowed to use bait here.
Not allowed to use bait here.
Alright.
Oh, all right. Honestly, that was just a small sample of the falls and trips we've had this year. Just going to say there was a lot more than I put in there. I know there was only like 6 or something that I put in there, but still, there's a lot more that I didn't record or I didn't want to show. So let's move on, get a little bit more in-depth on some unseen footage from this year. Let's start out at Red Deer River. At this spot, we had been catching goldeye whole day, and then, right before we were about to leave, this began happening. The river began almost... Hi, Chipper. Come here, Chipper. The river became almost like covered in goldeye surfacing everywhere. They were within 5 feet of me. That river, if you have not tried goldeye fishing in it, you have to. You have to this summer, spring, fall. They're there all year long. Very aggressive. Just use like a little spoon, spinner. Let's just check out what this experience looked like.
Look upriver.
Oh my god. What in the world? There's not even anything, not even any bugs out right now.
That's amazing.
Not even any bugs. Where are they going after? I gotta send this to Bennett.
Well, that was a very unique experience. Don't know why exactly they were jumping in that number, but let's move on to our second bit of unseen footage.
So, Bennett just caught first carp of the day, except for one little one I caught in a trap earlier.
Beauty.
Yeah, beautiful
Too bad
carp.
you can't release them though.
Yeah. Gonna get rid of that guy and keep on fishing.
And yes, that was just a little Prussian carp, but I forgot to put it in a video. I told Bennett that I would, so here we are now. You have also seen the Bennett carp, finally. I meant to put it out a while ago, but I guess. And for our final... And for our final unseen clip of the year, we go back to the Red Deer River out at Big Valley, where we camp each year. We go out to the rope swing there. We go out to the rope swing there. And there's a rope swing under the bridge. It is not very deep there. It's maybe 5 feet when I was swinging in that part of the river. So let's just take a look at what it looked like from a bystander's view. It was very interesting, that experience, so let's go see. Now, finally, you get to see you get to see exactly what happens between catches. This was from, again, a very recent video, but I didn't put this in there for this one reason of to show it to more people.
Here, let me show it to you. This.
Looks like a lure.
How good that looks.
Good job.
It's with a loop knot.
Good job.
Thanks. Are you proud of me?
You're definitely gonna catch lakefish with that.
Oh, dude, I hope I catch a lakefish. That's all I want, like just a lakefish. I don't want anything else.
Yeah, just a lakefish.
I'll be perfectly happy with just my lakefish.
Just a lakefish.
There's a...
I'm definitely putting that.
Me and the tip up, the same time we both get a fish. Tip up, flag goes up, I'm fighting a fish, and then my friend fights a fish, and then mine gets off. It was crazy though, the moment the sun started setting at like 4:30.
Your tip up flag.
Thanks, Jonah.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Is it the GoPro's running for that?
Yeah. Exactly what happens before and between catches. So I'll probably be putting more of those in the actual videos now that you know what happens between catches. So now let's talk about the actual catches. Let's talk about my strategies on how to catch these fish. I did not make it sound like that. Let's talk about the strategies specifically of how I catch the majority of the fish that I've caught, obviously. So, firstly, we begin with the probably most fished for fish in Alberta and possibly BC as well, the trout. Trout, I mainly use small spinners and spoons for in small lakes, rivers, creeks, anything like that. But in larger lakes, I would recommend to either use, if you're allowed to, some sort of bait or a small crankbait just to get their attention better, because they'll most likely be much more spread out. That, or using a larger spoon, which would be able to obviously have more motion, sound, and probably just potential in it. So throw your spoons, throw your spinners, your small crankbaits, really anything for small, aggressive fish. Secondly, we have one of my favorite species to fish for, of course, the bass, the smallmouth and largemouth. I'll be going over them separately. Smallmouth, I would recommend a small jig head with a piece of worm on it, or you could use smaller spoons and smaller crankbaits, but what I've had the most success on is just a jig head with worm. The most basic things almost always work out, especially if you're in areas where the water is warmer or the just general temperature is warmer. Also, when you don't have many bait fish in one lake with these bass, you want to go for something that represents a bug instead of a minnow, because then instead of thinking, oh, what's this other little fish here that they don't have much experience hunting, they will find something they are extremely used to. So again, up to your recommendation, but go basic, don't overthink it, is basically what I go for with smallmouth. Then largemouth, I'd recommend a little bit more of a flashier presentation, possibly a underspin or some sort of brighter jig head on with a worm, or you could try a small Ned rig with a little small plastic on it. Again, The majority of the times that I go bass fishing, it's in lakes with less bait fish and more small bugs. So what I'm going after isn't the largest, and I don't feel like I'd have the most authority in saying what works, what doesn't for those larger bass in lakes that I haven't fished. So let's move on to probably the most aggressive fish in Alberta, the pike and walleye. Pike, I would generally use spoons, not really spoons, jerk baits is what I really use for pike. That is what works year round for me, in and out, worked for years, especially in lakes that don't have high densities of pike. I'd recommend to mainly throw up along shallower, weedy areas. Try and get as deep and as fast as you can go, like say 2 twitches and then a slow crank. Or you could swap that up with 2 slow cranks and then a twitch. It really depends on your activity level of fish. Say if you're in a lake where you know that there is a lot of small minnows in there, that they are looking for those fish actively, I would recommend to sort of pump up the speed. But in sort of cooler times, I would recommend working a little bit more slowly because they're still waking up and their metabolism is still starting to run. Walleye wise, I recommend, again, basic worm with jig head. Works amazing, worked for me for a long time. You could also use shrimp or minnows if you want. I'm not going over ice fishing right now. That'll be probably for end of the ice fishing season. But basically, walleye, keep it simple, or you could use some sort of curly tail or a small rattle bait of some sort if you are doing vertical jigging of any type. So, up to you. But the majority of the time I do find success in just going very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate anything. Next is something that a lot less people seem to be interested in, which I don't think that they shouldn't be interested in it. And that is micros. Micros, I would recommend just using small, little, tiny hooks. I know Bennett has more information on the size of hooks, so if you want to know exactly what size, go over to his channel, ask him. I don't know the exact size because I've been using all of his hooks. But basically, take the tiniest hook you can find. And then either add on some tiny piece of worm or tiny piece of maggot. I found that the colored maggots work really well. But if you're in a water body that does not allow bait, I would recommend using either like a little gulp soft plastic of some sort they've taken down to a very small size with the scent on it. It's not, I don't think that it's bait yet, but I might be completely wrong there. Don't take any of this information as fact. But basically, tiny hook, tiny pieces of bait, and present it very slowly. You don't want to make it be super quick. That might scare them off. Might think that it is some sort of predator or aggressive bug even. Because honestly, I'm very confused by microspecies a lot of the time. So, you would be able to get away with a little bit of a larger, small, like say a little whitefish jig head. You could get away for that for shiners and stuff. But I would recommend going with a smaller hook if you're going after dace or small chubs or something like that. So, stay simple, tiny hook. That's all you really need to know. And finally, are perch and panfish, which is, in my experience, yellow perch, pumpkin seed, and occasionally red ear. All of these species are generally about the same temperament, except for the perch. The perch are very interesting. You want to work your lure or bait, whatever you want to choose, slowly. You don't want to make it very fast. You don't want to sort of ramp them up. You want to make sure that they have time to analyze what this bait is before they take the hit. See, you need to give them a little bit of time. They're a little bit more. They're probably the most patient panfish, I'd say. Perch, the most patient panfish. But basically, what these fish do is they go along the bottom, in most likely schools, slowly going around eating the small little bits around them. So what you want to do is replicate that minnow, or say bug. You could use a soft plastic tube, which is what I would recommend if you don't have bait, or you could use maggots or worms. Both work amazing. Keep it simple, very small presentation. Then with the panfish, like your sunfish and bluegill and stuff, you want to bring up your presentation, because most likely when you're going to be fishing for them, they're going to be very ramped up already and be looking for food constantly. So what you're going to be wanting to do is, especially since they are a much more bright fish, you're going to, once you know that one's around, start flicking much quicker, because then that allows for more authenticity in the bait, because they most likely would think, oh, this thing is afraid of me, I need to get it. And that is how you most likely would induce a faster hit on a bait fish. But if your panfish are being more sluggish, you would want to be a little bit slower in your presentation, possibly make it look more like a caddisfly larvae or something like that. So there is a lot of fish I caught this year, looking back. Let's just take a moment, think about what I caught. So, from the top, first to last species I caught this year: 59 white suckers, 56 lake chubs, 21 northern pike, 19 Prussian carp, 26 rainbows, 38 goldeye, 14 walleye, 18 crayfish, 1 river red horse, 1 bull trout, 11 largemouth, 27 pumpkin seed, 29 northern pike minnow, 2 brook trout, 38 smallmouth bass, 15 peamouth chub, 92 yellow perch, 7 mountain whitefish, 3 longnose sucker, 1 sauger, 2 moon eye, 1 grass carp, 20 longnose dace, 1 prickly sculpin, 1 saw-guide, 10 fathead minnows, 1 mottled sculpin, 8 spot-tail shiner, 1 brown trout, 2 pearl dace, 3 mountain sucker, and 1 burbot, coming out to the total of 538 fish that I have caught this year. I am extremely happy with that number, especially since at least I didn't start this year until like May. Like, I didn't start fishing in any major capacity again, because I was sort of just slowing down and fishing and focusing more on my aquariums at that point. But now, 538 for a whole year, that is amazing to me. And that I almost caught 100 yellow perch this year, which you cannot catch in Alberta. All of those must have been caught in BC, which is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal to me, because I did not fish any perch lakes this summer in Alberta. Summer, fall, winter, whatever. I haven't fished perch lakes at all in Alberta, because they're just either too far or just too risky, honestly. I'd rather go to a creek where I know that I can catch fish versus go out to a lake maybe 3 hours away that I'm not even 100% sure that I'll catch anything. So, again, I could have done better there, but it's amazing that I was able to catch that many fish, at least to me. And now, for announcements. We begin with the announcement that this summer and spring, fall, for 2022, I will most likely be trying to do some form of backpacking in the Rockies, and possibly at the Milk River, which has 3 species that I have been looking for a long time, and have recognized are really only in any amount in that water body. So, I am super, super excited for backpacking because that is just one of the best experiences to me. Be able to go out into the wilderness, most likely along a trail, but still trying to find a little bit more of a secluded area. But this will be our first year of backpacking at all because I just want to give it a shot, try and go out into the mountains, go for cutthroat, rainbows, maybe even Dolly Varden, if we get to Chester Lake. So, that brings me on that we are not, for 2022, counting species out of traps. But that does mean I still can count the fish from them, I just cannot count new species out of minnow traps. Each year I'm going to go down from this until it's just rod and reel. Just because I am not professional at it at all, and hopefully I can improve upon my strengths through this whole next year. Next up is probably one of my most exciting things that I'm going to be looking at, especially next to backpacking. This goes over that. Scuba diving. I may be doing some amount of scuba diving come the summer, spring, open water season. But basically, I have a training sessions booked already. So I will be doing scuba diving. That'll be able to allow me and you to be able to know what exactly is down there. How does the bottom of a lake affect a fish species, possibly even? I might be doing some sort of research on that. But one other thing to go along with that, I'll be doing a full year logbook for 2022. From January to December, all the way through the entire year, I'll be keeping a log of what I observe and how certain things go on my fishing adventures through the whole next year. So, that's about it for my announcements, except for one last thing. Species. The new species that I'm going to be looking for this next year, from the top: chiselmouth, leopard dace, cutthroat, lake trout, lake whitefish, large-scale sucker, Arctic grayling, which we do have in Alberta, torrent sculpin, Iowa darter, and one thing that you probably don't know exists in Alberta: golden trout. There's only one lake, and it is only in backpacking that you're able to get there for at least a trip, at least from where I am. So, we're going to be out there this summer looking for golden trout, Iowa darters, so many different new species. And if I do not catch these, I'll be very disappointed in myself, honestly. Because these are fish that I have been looking for a while, but I haven't been able to catch them. That does mean, when we're in BC, I'll be focusing in more on the Kettle River, which has at least 2 of these species that I do want to catch. So, to a new year. Those are my new announcements. Top off of a year. Great year, actually. Great year. Have a great day. Been a great year. Have a great day. Go check out Bennett's channel if you're still here. I'll leave the link in the description. Just for him. Just give him a little bit of a boost. So, hope to see you next year. I'm going fishing.